Stallone, Taylor Sheridan, gangsters. Yeah, just inject that into my veins. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. First episode of Tulsa King, a new Paramount Plus show starring Sylvester Stallone and from creator Taylor Sheridan. Taylor Sheridan is responsible for Hell or High Water, Yellowstone. Although he's essentially, right now, he is outside of the Star Trek series and all of those things. He is single-handedly keeping the lights on at Paramount Plus with Yellowstone and the multiple spin-offs and sequel series that is having. He is now giving Paramount Plus another thing with Tulsa King, which is a bit different than a lot of his stuff. He typically makes slower moving, almost westerns. Pretty much this is where he sort of dabbles in and stays in. This feels more like an Elmore Leonard type of show, which for those who don't know, like Out of Sight, Justified, where dialogue is witty, and there's like a little crime element underneath, but it's more of a let's introduce these characters and show how this sort of sandbox works. So with this first episode called Go West, Old Man, it is different than what I sort of expected, but I am fully invested and love all of it. This episode, this particular video is going to be non-spoilers. I'm going to talk about the episode, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to give you a feel of how I feel about the show. In this episode, Stallone plays a character named Dwight Manfredi, who, the general, he was the capo of this gang organization, this mafia organization. He's been in prison for the last 25 years, and it's something that he's always wanted to do. He's always wanted to be in gang. That's sort of what his life is. But he's in prison for 25 years because he wouldn't snitch on his family, on his team, his mafia family. He wouldn't snitch. We learn that in this he wouldn't snitch on his boss's son who whacked someone. So he just keeps it to his vest. So when he comes out, he's expecting this big party, this big thank you for holding this in and return to fame. And what he sees is that they're living on the life of the luxury. They're rich, they're beyond means. And they ask him, not so much ask, but force him to go west to Tulsa. Like, hey, we got this opportunity. You can go out there and make it your own. There's nobody out there. There's no element out there. You can put a sort of the flag in the stand and go handle all of that. And it's this thing where that's where they're putting him. They're demoting him. They're putting him there because there's a new capo. There's a new basically hierarchy, and he doesn't fit into that. So they're basically banishing him, how he feels, and they're kind of sprinkling in saying, "This is going to be good for business," but it's basically just getting him out of the way. And he feels a type of way about that. And what we get is to see a man go triple fish out of water. He's a fish out of water because he's his first time out of prison in 25 years, so the world has changed around him. He's a free man. He's going from what he expected in New York to the fish out of water in Oklahoma. Completely different set of circumstances here. And he sort of is a fish out of water and not having his gang affiliation, if you will, but crime and what is legal and isn't legal is different now. And it's just fascinating to see how he navigates in all of that. It's fun, it's tongue-in-cheek. The charisma of Stallone is not lost on me here. Like, he is just fascinating to watch. He's still a badass, but he has that charm where you're kind of like, he's the coolest man in the room, but he also doesn't know what the hell he's talking about a lot of times. And it's fun to see the world interact with him and kind of like, he's still going by these tough guy rules, but forcing them into some things that are perfectly fine and legal nowadays. He's making them dirty. And so if you like shows like Justified, or you like movies like Out of Sight, or some of those like Jackie Brown, some of those type of things with a little bit of Get Carter in there, because Stallone did a version of that. This is a show for you. Like, I'm invested. I loved it. I was smiling from ear to ear. I was like, oh yeah, they got me. They got me good with this one. So yes, I will be sticking around with this show. I will be fully invested. And I will be watching this from week to week and giving these probably pretty earlier on Sundays. I got behind on this one because of football. That took a precedent. But now that I know the timing of when they release this, I'll go ahead and knock this out first thing in the morning and give you my thoughts on each episode. From this point on, I will be spoilery about Tulsa King, but just know that I loved it, and I can't wait to continue on to see what we get next. What did you guys think about the first episode of Tulsa King? Is it something you're going to be sticking around with? What did you think about the first episode called Go West, Old Man? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. Again, for this particular one, non-spoilers, but from this point on, after that, we'll be talking about all the characters, all the machinations, some of the mess that he has already put himself into in this one episode. I am always curious to see where we go from here and how much more this compounds as he adds on to his pain. But again, leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDid@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. This current episode that's going up on right after this tomorrow is all about the spoiler cast about Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.